All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our Ironsworn Starforged campaign, Crystalline Shadows. So, last we left off, Ash had finished up his exploration of the planet he was on, Abylos, and the abandoned settlement there. A former member of the Shattered Regiment and the second in command of a group called the Blazing Covenant did have to come to his rescue, but he is back on the ship, more or less safe and sound, although he's found himself in a predicament, having seen a vision brought on by a time of desperation and despair that is apparently a vision the leaders of his sect of the Blazing Covenant saw as well, and it has caused them their current behavior to be much more militant and more aggressive in what they are trying to achieve than that of the standard Shattered Regiment, as Jackpot, the former member, came to reveal to our intrepid hero. So now Ash has sworn a vow to prevent that vision from coming to pass, because it is a vision, in theory at least, of what is believed by the leadership of the old world, the former, what was seen at first as the capitalist utopia, and the at least how it ended there, with kind of a economic collapse, as pretty much every major empire has ended up in one way or another throughout Earth's history. So there is the leadership of Ash's sect of the Shattered Regiment faction is trying to bring this vision to pass, and Ash has decided to work against it. And I think this mission here is going to be our last mission. It is extreme, so it's going to take a little while, but I think coming to thwart that and is also going to give us a good deal of progress towards the background vow of bringing justice to the Scarlet Shards. That vow has significantly changed in scope. Will that ultimately happen in the eyes of the greater galaxy? We'll find out. I do think these two vows are kind of intrinsically tied together. So, but I do believe once this vow is done, I think we're going to call it there for Ash's story, unless you guys really, really want to see more. However, we've got tons of other games. There's can always do another Starforged run, perhaps even in the same setting with the same kind of world setup. But there's also base Ironsworn and Ironsworn Sundials. I have all of the materials for those. I have a bunch of other solo games. I have at least one I would like to do a one-shot of, called The Cog That Remains. I'll probably do that no matter what at some point on the channel. Recording it's a little wonky. I gotta figure out how to do that, because it does require a Jenga tower and cards, so I'll have to figure out how I want to record that. But I've also heard that the Walking Dead universe RPG is really good and has its own solo rules. Plus there is a book called, I believe it is Mystic Game Master Emulator Volume 2, which kind of takes all of these Oracle roles and stuff that we use to play without a GM and just puts them in a system agnostic kind of style of book that allows you to turn any system into a GMless system. So I have seen a creator use that in tandem with the Walking Dead stuff to do a really cool zombie game, and I probably want to do that. I also have ideas for things like 4th edition D&D and Shadowrun, which is a kind of urban fantasy cyberpunk system, if you guys haven't heard of that one. So there's a lot of options for where we might go next. So if you guys do have something you would like to see me take a crack at, maybe do a one-shot of just to test it out, see if we want to maybe do a longer campaign of it, let me know in the comments, because I will be gearing up, not necessarily anytime soon, but I think we're heading towards the climax of this particular story. So wanna just gonna have to start thinking about, you know, what comes next for the channel after this one. But that being said, we've got a story to get into. Let me double check how Ash is looking. It's okay, but not great. So while I would like to rest and recuperate, I don't know if exactly makes sense. Let's see here. Historically speaking, Ash has not been great at relaxing. But I will say they get a nice little send-off. We already talked about last episode, Jackpot asking Ash to take care of his former ship, otherwise known as the Stellar Hawk. So I don't think they're gonna get anything else from the Blazing Covenant. I think I rolled to Sojourn, and we got enough of a hit to heal up a little bit, and I think to get some spirit. So trying to think here of what. Okay, yeah, I think. Okay, let's see here what we're gonna do on this map. I'm gonna put a little pathway here because they did come from the other sector to Abylos. I think we need to go back to Purgatory for some stuff to kick off this next little bit. I think before they really head off that way, like Ash will maybe put like the autopilot. I'm just gonna make it easy and say that there is. Sorry, hold on a second. So what I'm gonna say is that they I'm gonna add a little path here. I'm gonna say that the Covenant, no, I don't want to put anything there, told Ash of a path that is through that connects to the known paths throughout the this sector, so they can more easily get back to Purgatory. So I will roll for that, just to on the it's not under set a course, just to make sure nothing goes horribly wrong, which, you know, in the past has been a horrible idea, but we'll see. But first I'm going to roll to Hearten, try and get that spirit up a little bit before we go deal with some stressful stuff. So we're gonna roll plus heart, as Ash is going to try and find a moment of peace, and that is a weak hit. On a weak hit as above, I can lose momentum. So I lose momentum, but I get. So I have cleared Shaken, I believe. Yes, Shaken is gone, so I get 2 spirit back. So we're up to 4 spirit, but I lose a momentum. I think that is a fair trade. Will it come back to bite me? Who knows? Momentum was only at 3, so it wasn't going to do a whole lot to get us out of the fire, but you never know with how this dice roller is rather fickle at times. But so what I think happens as some of you may have seen if you were paying attention when I scrolled down, I did spend some XP, and I have some ideas for spending the other 3 we have, but for right now, I upgraded the armored asset. So now instead of setting something to 4, we set it to 5, our action die when we roll. And what I think that's represented by is, I think Ash sets the navigation to follow the predetermined course, you know, kind of put the autopilot on as they're leaving the Blazing Covenant fleet. And when he goes back to, you know, do his usual of servicing his weapons and checking his gear and stuff like that, he finds that Jackpot has left him one final gift in order to probably help fulfill his request of keeping the Stellar Hawk safe, and thus probably himself safe. Jackpot has left some of his pieces of armor behind. Ash had just grabbed the essentials when he was preparing to hit Planetside, and it did actually save him a little bit while he was there. But Jackpot was more heavily armored than Ash, and I think he has, in his decision to help Ash, and maybe as a way to keep Ash, to have Ash keep the Covenant in mind should he need their help or want to follow in Jackpot's footsteps and leave the regiment behind. He's left him some of those extra bits of armor. So he has, Ash is now fully kitted out, arms, legs, torso, helmet, as he goes through and checks his armor, including the new pieces. That is a bit of, I'm going to call it shared intimacy, as even with the distance of space between them, 2 soldiers taking a moment to help one another. So, having done that, I think it is time to set a course. And this is when we are following a known route through perilous space. You roll plus supply, which is what these pathways are. These are known routes. Supply is at 4, so I'm going to set this to other and other to 4, and take a little rollsy to see what happens. That is a miss. That is how I expected this to go. On a miss, you are waylaid by a significant threat and must pay the price. If you overcome this obstacle, you may push on safely to your destination. So we must pay the price. Where is that? Not too long. Pay the price right here. Okay. Okay, so Ash, I see this, face the consequences of an earlier choice. So I was gonna have this come up later, but Ash decided to, you know, punch a guard in the face and break Vander out of jail. So that's a consequence. And that consequence is probably coming to pass as they get to back into Ash's kind of home turf. So we'll put them there. But I think on the way, another member of the Covenant is going to spot them and is going to hail Ash down. Let's get character oracles. I still haven't done the pronoun oracle. I wonder. Well, let me look up real quick on the phone. There's a pronoun. No, there's a random generator somewhere of pronouns. All right. He, him. Okay. Well, I'm not gonna fully roll out a thing for this yet. We'll see Bloodshot. So him, Bloodshot. Helps if I put my fingers on the right spots. So Ash gets close enough to Purgatory that he starts picking up signals again, and he's broadcasting his signal. Probably knowing he's gonna have to explain some stuff, but maybe not expecting to get hailed this far out. I'm gonna say he's like, I don't know, maybe here-ish or something. Couple hexes away from the planet in and of itself, and he gets hit with a request, and opens up the communication channel. I don't think they're really fancy enough to, because if I remember correctly, this was kind of picturing like alien retro futuristic style sci-fi. So this is probably a voice only communique. And they hear over the speakers in the cockpit someone come on and going, howdy there, Vanguard. You're gonna need to hold up right there, and we're gonna need to have a conversation. And Ash checks the call sign on the data, and he goes, he'll do the equivalent of stopping the ship, which is probably setting it to like coast at a similar speed in the area, and just kind of drift aimlessly within view of each other. And he'll say, yeah, I read you, Bloodshot. What's going on? Well, you've earned yourself a little bit of a bounty there, sir. Now I know you're young blood, so you might not know how this all works, but you had a little bit of a dust up, from what I hear, on planet before you ran off to do some stuff. So one way or another, we're supposed to take you to the brass to see to get all that straightened out if we see you. I'd rather not make this a whole thing, and if I'd be happy just to follow you back if you're going to Purgatory like it says you are, but I'm gonna need some reassurances, and you're gonna have to let me put a tracker on you in case you decide to try and run off. Otherwise, we're gonna have some issues that are gonna be dealt with more immediately. So, what do you say? You make this easy on us? Ash and Vander look at each other. Vander just kind of shrugs. They don't know what the best play is here. Ash will let's make a roll here. You compel. He's gonna try and charm, or more accurately pacify, with his 2 heart. We'll see how this goes. He'll call back and go, all right. Is that tracker really necessary? I was already going back to talk to him. I think there's been some misunderstandings that need to be cleared up. You know how we always are. We're taught to work independently and do what we think is right. Just trying to do my job. Make the whole forge a better place for everyone. Now, I might have disagreed with what exactly the best way to do that was, but I think I've got that done, and I'm back now to set the record straight. Can we not do this as formally? I'm not a criminal. I'm just a brother who got a little out of hand. Yeah? I'll come in nice and smooth with you. But I don't think all the tracker and whatnot's necessary. Not like I'm working against the regiment here. I'm just trying to bring our vision to pass like everybody else, and we'll see if that works. And that is a strong miss. On a miss, they refuse or make a demand that costs you greatly pay the price. So yeah, I think the weapons lock on, and Ash is forced to be like, all right, relax, no need for that, hit me with your tracker, I'll go in first, you can stay behind me, and if I go off course, you can do your thing, all right? And you can call ahead, have them meet me however you want. Got it? All right. Don't you try nothing funny now, okay? Just let's keep things smooth and make them go nice and get all this cleared up. I ain't your enemy. I'm just doing what has to be done, like you were saying. Ash rolls his eyes, and he hears the thud, and there's the contact sensors as something magnetic is attached to the ship. And Vander will page through a couple of things, hit the scanners and whatnot to see what's going on with the ship, and they nod and go, yeah, it's scanners say they've hit us with a tracker, so nothing dangerous, at least, thankfully. What are we gonna do about this meeting, though? Ash goes, we aren't gonna do anything. You are probably gonna be uncomfortable for a while. There's some smuggling compartments I know about in the ship. Should fit you, if not comfortably. I want to take the blanket off your bunk. How exactly do you know about these recordings? And how exactly do you know about these compartments? Well, we know everything about our ships, and some governments don't appreciate people working within their territory, so we are equipped to move things through more restrictive space. Yeah, that doesn't seem shady at all. Oh, of course it's shady, I'm not denying that, but more of the at least what they tell us, not dealing with illegal or illicit stuff in sectors, but there are certain things that are illegal to have in certain sectors, so if you have to travel through one of those sectors where it is faster to go through it than around it, it's best to just keep that under wraps. But they shouldn't check the ship thoroughly enough to find some of the custom ones that it appears Jackpot put in place that I have found. So we'll stash you, at least until you hear them come and go. And then you pop out and be ready in case we need to leave quickly. Oh, this just sounds lovely. Alright, go on then. Take care of your business as you see fit. And thus they move into Purgatory, and Ash is allowed to land at home. And I think he's met with council people and whatnot, with like security. And I believe, did we have cooperative? I don't remember exactly who Arnav was. Arnav was like the leader, I believe, and Amari was our contact. Yeah, Amari was our contact. So we're probably going to deal with Arnav again. I don't remember the voice I gave him, so he might get a whole new voice. For those of you who do remember, there was also a female government official, if I remember correctly, a woman who was part of the Purgatory government, who had kind of shooed Ash out of dealing with the initial investigation for her own. Let me go take a look for her, because I think she got lost. Didn't think she was important when my stuff got wiped, but let me go dive back into my old recordings real quick and see if I can find her. Alright, so I did find her. Her name was May Becker. And so I've gotten her information. I've also added a goal here that made sense, to seize power. She's trying to get any bit of extra authority that she can. So I'm gonna say that she's gonna put her on purgatory before she gets lost again. But so I think Ash is gonna be brought in. Not okay. Here I'm gonna say it's. I'm gonna ask the Oracle. I'm gonna ask if they treat him as basically as a prisoner or not. If they if they're treating him as a prisoner, taking away his weapons, cuffing him, stuff like that, or if they're treating him as someone, coming in to give a report. I'm going to say it is likely that he is treated as a prisoner, so a yes answer is 75 or less. So there's a 1 in 4 chance that he is treated without extra precautions. No, so he is treated without extra precautions. Awesome. Okay, so he's still got all of his stuff. For now, anyway, he is, deep. Maybe they don't think he's too much of a threat with a government official and one of the higher ups of the group, so to speak. So Ash is brought into through the capital ship turned capital city. For those of you who don't remember, it's a very natural looking place. This planet is a little unhospitable, if I remember. Let's see here. Purgatory, projects, authority. Did I not? Oh, that's the settlement, not the planet. Here we go. Atmosphere is marginal. And the life is diverse, so it's not a super easy to live on planet for people. They kind of got to live in dome cities or with suits. So what they did is they tried to beautify the inside of this gigantic capital ship, kind of turned dome city. So there's lots of like terrariums and stuff made of natural materials gathered from the outside, wood furniture, lots of, cushions. Oh, my cat knocked something over. Hold on. Okay, my cat has successfully negotiated an early dinner by being a menace while I'm trying to record. So, now that he is appeased, we can get back to this. But yeah, like I was saying, lots of natural furniture, natural fiber tapestries and carpets and cushions and stuff like that, to give the space the green spaces and whatnot. And there's probably UV bulbs to simulate the sunlight and whatnot. And I imagine they've probably, at least on the outer edges of the ship, replaced stuff with like clear kind of plasteel panels and whatnot, so people can get actual sunlight and see the beautiful lush jungle greenery that is outside. But that is not where Ash gets to go. He gets marched through there and probably quickly turned into the interior corridors that government officials and prisoners get to see, and eventually led to an interrogation room where May Becker and Arnav Velez are waiting for him, we shall say. And he's not cuffed, he's not disarmed, but security is outside, and these two are here. So, I wonder if there's an oracle. So, okay, I'm not really seeing an oracle that might guide how these two are feeling. I guess. Character disposition. Here, I will clear that out. We know that May doesn't like Ash, but let's see how Arnav is feeling. Because his disposition was cooperative, but that might have changed. Let's see how Arnav is going into this. Also threatening. Neither of them are happy. We're going to change that right now. So, not great for Ash. Great for what I want to do with Ash. A little bit here. So, they're all three sitting in a room, and Ash is looking back and forth. Imagine he stepped out in full armor. Probably not a great display, but he is also not the most political person. He's savvy, but he's more tech savvy and ingenuitive than people savvy. He's got some social skills with that heart roll. So he's smart and he can influence people when he wants to, but I don't imagine he's great. He's not great on the subtlety aspect of the being manipulative. I think he's more got that, you know, that boyish charm, the farm boy hero type of charisma. And so showing up and beat up mismatched armor is going to set a certain thing, and I think Arnav is going to be the first one as Ash takes his helmet off and sets it on the table to get himself comfortable for the conversation. Arnav's going to look at it, much different from the helmet he left with, and just go, what have you done to your suit? Almost offended. And Ash looks down, kind of lifts a hand that's now, you know, got a proper armored gauntlet and stuff on it, and just be like, I felt the need to make some upgrades from our standard uniform. It's not exactly up to snuff when you're roughing it with flying rock scorpion creatures with rocks for tails, or with clubs for tails. So, I did what I had to do to get by. Kind of a subtle dig that, you know, what he was given wasn't good enough. He'll also add in is like, I also lost the sword you guys gave me. So, sorry, that's buried in an ice crevice somewhere. It was that or let myself get eaten by lizard cat hybrids. And you know what, I think, God, should we call this a scene challenge? Yeah. Let's just let the narrative play out. He's I'm not gonna roll anything yet, but he's trying to set the tone of that he's not the greenhorn that he was when he left. Not the fresh out of basic recruit. And I don't know if it necessarily works on Arnav, because Arnav is also a higher up, but I think it works on May. I think May is a little taken aback as she realizes that, okay, she's in a room with someone who's dangerous, and there might be people out there to protect her, but they have to get in the room that he's already in with her. So if this goes horribly, horribly wrong, she is probably the least protected person in this room. God, they don't have a signature weapons table. That's something from whatchamajig, from Sundered Isles. So yeah, let's forge us a random weapon. See what Arnav has. Arnav has a bow staff, so I think it's a metallic bow staff. I am a bit of a weapons nerd and a gear nerd when it comes to these games. So forgive me if you don't necessarily care about this. But he's got a chemical bow staff. So probably, I don't think the alchemical treatment makes it necessarily any, like, doesn't make it hit harder or anything like that. but it reinforces the staff. So what is a fairly unassuming staff normally, Ash knows has been treated through their alchemical pseudo science process to make something that's going to be able to go toe to toe with his sword. Wonder what could we get under a revealed aspect here? Apathetic. Okay. Makes sense. I think it makes sense if he's not really caring about what Ash has gone through. He as May begins to look shaken, he waves his hand and goes, I don't care about any of that, Ash. You hurt one of your own people and then broke out a prisoner that we had explicitly told you was to stay here. And Ash is going to lean forward with a grin and go, and you were wrong about that. I was right. They helped lead me to a site, they helped lead me to a precursor site. Found some amazing things in that site. I think everyone in the room tenses when Ash reaches behind his back and pulls out the sword, puts it on the table in front of them, and then hits the button to reveal the blades with the similar markings on it, but not quite the same. This was just left in a weapons warehouse at a hub depot. Imagine if we could find one of their forges. He retracts the blade again and leaves it on the table, his hand kind of just casually over it as he leans back in his seat again. That prisoner you found can now move objects with his mind, or can now move objects with their mind, thanks to a process that they underwent in the same facility. Now that facility is gone, but I'm sure there's more somewhere out there, and we're not going to be able to find them without an expert on that culture. And okay, this is gonna end in a compel, but I don't think we're quite there yet. We're using these heart crystals that the Crimson Shards are after, right? Scarlet Shards, that the Scarlet Shards are after, and we're just using them as batteries. They can do so much more. They can heal people. They can change people. He taps his sword. He's like, they can probably mass produce these things that take our forge experts days to make. I know what they look like now because of that person. And you wanted to keep them locked in a cage because they disagreed with you. That is not the group that I signed up to fight for. We're trying to make the forge a better place, right? So are they. So all I'm asking is we stop this posturing, or all I'm asking is we stop this nonsense posturing about the chain of command and who's right and who's wrong. We're not a military organization. Stop acting like it. He turns to look at May. We don't work for you. We help this planet because, and in exchange, you give us a place to operate out of. But we're only one arm of a greater organization. And that organization has more important things to do than bicker over differences in ideology. So if you want to kick me out for that, that's fine. But I have earned the right to blaze my own path while serving our cause. So all I'm asking is that you let me do what I think is right without tying my hands, as long as I'm not hurting the greater good. Now, if you want, I'll go and apologize to the person I punched in the face, but you guys were actively trying to harm our mission, and I will not apologize for not letting that happen. So please do the right thing and get out of my way. And I think that is going to be a compel. I don't know if we've got anything that can help us. Not really. So that's just going to be straight heart, I think. Mostly because he's not really trying to threaten or incite them. I guess he is trying to incite them. So we'll roll with iron. It's the same bonus, but it feels more in line with Ash. He's trying to incite them to a specific cause of action that he wants, and he is being kind of aggressive about it. So we'll roll with that. And there isn't really a better option. So a weak hit. Okay. So what I'm gonna say is that May seems kind of cowed by this. Arnav is still pretty apathetic. He still sees a newbie who's gotten too big for his britches, but some of what Ash says makes kind of sense. So I think Ash has kind of stood up at this point, is kind of leaning with both hands on the table, and Arnav stands up, and both as a subtle shift to get a better stance and a bit of a reminder that he is also armed, kind of cracks his staff against the floor as he shifts into a more equal position with Ash and says, "Fine, but you're not running off on your own. We'll give you someone else to go with you to keep you in check and make sure you actually are working for the greater good. I will consult with the higher-ups. You resupply. It sounds like you have a mission to do. So resupply, get your ship repaired, and we'll let you go off on your own. I will figure out how to explain away the fact that you have seemingly lost the prisoner." And Ash just kind of shrugs. He's not gonna say anything. It seems that Vander indeed has not been discovered while on the ship. So fine. I can deal with a babysitter, I guess, if it means I can actually get something done rather than just arresting 2-bit criminals that don't fall in line when they're told to. And with that, I think the meeting's done. Ash is free to move about the city, and he's going to be able to maybe get some data from that contact we had at the beginning of the adventure, and possibly repair his ship, which needs some damage. Let's do that real quick before I forget. We are at a facility, so yeah, okay. If we're making our own repairs or we're obtaining repairs, I've established that Ash likes to make his own repairs, even if it is a slightly worse roll. Let's see here. On a weak hit, you get 3 points. 1 point. You get to take +1 integrity to a vehicle per 1 point. So we will take that up to 5. Perfect. And I think we're going to call it there for right now. We're at almost an hour on the recording, so I think there is some stuff I've got to cut out. So should be a good length for an episode. And that sets us up. Next time we will meet our babysitter and see what Ash is going to do about that, if anything. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, or if you did, I should say, like the video, leave a comment, subscribe so you can come back for the next chapter in Ash's adventure as we start our journey towards the end of this story. So thank you again for watching, and as they say in the Forge,
stay safe out there.